What if the next world war is decided not by who has the most soldiers or ships, but by who controls the skies with machines that are practically invisible? Think of a plane so advanced that even the most powerful radars in the world struggle to see it. A machine designed not just to fly, but to disappear, to cross thousands of miles undetected, and strike at the very heart of an enemy's defenses before anyone realizes it was ever there. Deep inside a heavily guarded hangar in Palmdale, California, the United States Air Force is building such a weapon. It is called the B-21 Raider, and it has the potential to rewrite the rules of modern warfare. At first glance, the B-21 looks like a sleek black arrow, smooth and almost alien in its design. But behind that shape lies more than just an aircraft. It is a message, a signal to the world that the United States is preparing for conflicts that most of us cannot even imagine yet. For decades, America's air dominance has been built on bombers like the B-52, the B-1, and the B-2 Spirit. They were engineering marvels of their time, but time has caught up with them. The B-52 was first introduced in the 1950s and is still flying. The B-1 fleet has grown too costly and difficult to maintain. Even the B-2, once the pinnacle of stealth, is a design from the 1980s. The Air Force knew it needed something new, something that could face off against the most advanced defenses that China, Russia, or any other adversary might deploy. That is why the B-21 matters. It represents not only a leap in technology, but a bridge into the future. Over the next 2 decades, America is planning to field 145 of these bombers, a significant increase from the original plan of just 100, and they are not cheap. In the year 2026 alone, the Air Force plans to spend more than $10 billion on the program, nearly double what it is spending this year. At a time when budgets are being squeezed, that level of commitment tells us just how important the B-21 has become. But what makes this aircraft so special? To understand that, we need to go back to the idea of stealth itself. During the Cold War, the United States realized that the best way to survive in an age of advanced air defenses was not to fight radar head-on, but to disappear from it. The B-2 Spirit was the first true stealth bomber, shaped like a flying wing to deflect radar signals and coated with materials that absorbed them. For years, it was virtually untouchable, but technology does not stand still. Russia and China have been developing new radar systems designed to catch what the B-2 was trying to hide. The B-21 Raider is America's answer. Unlike its predecessors, the Raider is not just stealthy in shape, it is stealthy in its very DNA. Every surface, every curve, every material is designed to minimize its signature. Its electronic systems are built to confuse and jam enemy sensors. And unlike the B-2, which was designed for nuclear strikes, the B-21 is truly multi-mission. It can carry nuclear weapons, yes, but it can also drop conventional bombs, conduct long-range surveillance, manage electronic warfare, and even act as a command hub in the middle of a battle. Imagine a single aircraft that can blind an enemy's radars, direct a swarm of drones, and then launch a precision strike, all in one mission. That is the vision behind the B-21. What makes it even more remarkable is how it is being built. Northrop Grumman, the defense company leading the program, is using digital twin technology. That means every B-21 exists not only in the real world, but also as a complete virtual model. Engineers can test, upgrade, and troubleshoot without ever touching the actual aircraft. This keeps costs lower and ensures problems are solved before they even reach the assembly line. In fact, the Air Force reports that the per-unit cost across the first 5 production lots has dropped by nearly 30%. In the world of defense programs, where costs usually spiral out of control, that is almost unheard of. And make no mistake, this is not just one company's project. Building the B-21 has become a nationwide industrial effort. Hundreds of suppliers, from large aerospace giants to small precision parts makers, are contributing to the program. In towns across America, jobs are being created and sustained by the Raider. At Palmdale, where the aircraft is being assembled, entire communities are tied to its progress. For every bomber that rolls out of that hangar, there are thousands of workers and engineers whose skills have shaped it. The scale of production is ambitious. Nearly 40 bombers are already under construction. By 2026, the Air Force expects to have at least 2 flying. Once full production is underway, Northrop Grumman aims to deliver 10 bombers per year. That pace is crucial because the U.S. Air Force wants enough Raiders to be able to fight in multiple theaters at once. This is not just about preparing for one war, it is about being ready for conflicts in the Pacific against China, while also deterring Russia in Europe, all at the same time. The psychological effect of such a fleet cannot be underestimated. Adversaries know that if the United States has 145 stealth bombers, capable of flying anywhere in the world undetected, it changes the calculus of war. Even if they never take off, their very existence forces opponents to plan around them, to invest billions in countermeasures, to hesitate before making aggressive moves. Deterrence is not just about having weapons. It is about convincing others that those weapons could be used at any moment. What does the B-21 mean for America's allies? For NATO and Europe, it represents reassurance that the United States can still project overwhelming force across the Atlantic. For partners in the Indo-Pacific, it is proof that Washington is serious about countering China's military rise. Already, countries like Australia and Japan are watching the Raider closely, wondering what role it might play in their own defense strategies. But beyond strategy and geopolitics, there is another dimension to the story. The Raider is also an engine of innovation. Technologies developed for its stealth coatings, its electronic systems, and its advanced manufacturing processes could eventually spill over into civilian industries. In the past, military programs like the Apollo missions or stealth aircraft development led to breakthroughs in materials, science, computing, and communications that shaped our everyday lives. The B-21 may continue that legacy. Looking ahead, the Raider is also designed with the future in mind. Its systems are built on what the Air Force calls open architecture, which means they can be upgraded and replaced more easily than in past aircraft. This allows the bomber to evolve as technology changes. In the coming decades, we may even see unmanned versions of the B-21, or Raiders coordinating directly with swarms of drones and satellites. It is not just an aircraft, it is a platform, a foundation for whatever comes next in air power. And that brings us to the deeper question: why build it at all? Why invest so much money and effort into an invisible bomber at a time when missiles and drones dominate headlines? The answer is simple but sobering. Because in modern warfare, the ability to strike anywhere, anytime, without warning, is still the ultimate form of power. Missiles can be shot down, drones can be jammed, satellites can be blinded, but a stealth bomber, cruising silently over hostile territory, can deliver a strike that changes the course of a battle or even a war. That is why the United States is willing to spend billions. Because in a dangerous world, deterrence is priceless. Of course, there are critics. Some argue that focusing on stealth bombers is an old way of thinking, that hypersonic missiles and cyber warfare are the real battlefields of tomorrow. Others worry that programs like the B-21 will fuel an arms race, pushing nations like China and Russia to develop even more dangerous systems in response. Both concerns have merit, but history suggests that technological superiority often decides conflicts long before they begin. During the Gulf War in 1991, it was stealth aircraft like the F-117 that shocked the world by flying straight through Iraqi defenses. The B-21 aims to deliver that same level of surprise and dominance against far more capable adversaries. As of today, the Raider has already flown at least once, though much of its testing remains classified. Footage released by the Air Force shows a black silhouette gliding across the desert sky, quiet and deliberate, like a predator that does not need to announce its presence. More test flights are expected in the coming years, as the program accelerates toward operational readiness. And so, we are left with a paradox. The B-21 is being built for war, yet its true purpose may be to prevent war. By existing, by being ready, by silently reminding adversaries of what it can do, it may convince them never to take the risk of open conflict. That is the logic of deterrence. That is the hope behind the Raider. As you hear this, somewhere in Palmdale, workers are fitting panels onto a wing, engineers are fine-tuning systems, and a machine that is meant to remain invisible is slowly taking shape. The next time you see a news headline about tensions in the Pacific or confrontations in Europe, remember this aircraft, because whether it ever flies a combat mission or not, it will be hovering in the background of every strategic decision, an invisible hand shaping the choices of nations. The B-21 Raider is more than just a collection of steel, electronics, and advanced software. It is a statement carved into the skies. A silent declaration that America intends to stay ahead in a world where rivals are growing bolder every year. To some, it is simply another machine of war. But to those who understand its purpose, the Raider represents something far deeper. It is the embodiment of America's resolve, its fears, its ambitions, and its unshakable belief that strength is the surest path to peace. What makes the B-21 remarkable is not only what it can do, but also what we may never know it can do. The details of its range, its systems, its stealth, all remain cloaked in secrecy. That secrecy itself is part of the weapon. Because uncertainty forces adversaries to hesitate, to second guess, to plan for threats they cannot fully measure. In modern warfare, the most powerful weapons are often the ones that are never fired. Their value lies in the pause they create, in the deterrence they impose, in the way they make enemies think twice before making reckless moves. The B-21 Raider is designed to live in that space between action and restraint, to project an invisible shadow so vast that it reshapes the calculations of every potential adversary. It is not just an aircraft, it is a symbol, a reminder that America is willing to invest billions into the future of war precisely to avoid the devastation of war itself. And in that paradox lies its true power. The Raider is a machine, yes, but above all, it is a message. A message written not in words, but in silence, in mystery, and in the fear of the unseen. So, in the end, we are left with a crucial question. Will the B-21 Raider become the silent guardian that keeps peace by making war unthinkable? Or will it spark a dangerous arms race, where invisibility becomes the ultimate prize? This is the paradox of modern warfare. Every technological leap promises safety, yet tempts escalation. As America pushes the boundaries of stealth, China and Russia race to follow. The world may be entering an era where battles are fought not in open skies, but in shadows no radar can penetrate. Yet, history shows us that deterrence works. The nuclear arsenal of the Cold War forced nations to pause before plunging into destruction. The B-21 might play a similar role not as a tool of destruction, but as a shield of uncertainty. For now, the Raider waits in silence. Hidden in hangars, tested in secrecy, it remains a shadow that no one can see, but everyone must account for. Perhaps its greatest power lies not in what it does, but in what it makes the world imagine. And only time will tell how the world responds to that invisible presence.